we have to acknowledge that Ekeler was dealing with some sort of injury during the season. If we have to admit that he was dealing with something, and pretty much all of the Chargers offense was dealing with something. Justin Herbert with the broken finger that cost him a few games. You have Mike Williams out the majority of the season. Keenan Allen missed the last few games. This entire Chargers offense, I think we just need to throw out most of the second half of the season where they were just not themselves. And so I'm back in on Austin Ekeler as a top 15 running back for next year. His pass catching is still there. The efficiency metrics sure are pretty low, but I think that does bounce back some either with the Chargers or some other team is going to see what usefulness as a change of pace back or his potential as a pass catcher. Teams are always looking for that role of, I need a third down back. I need a change of pace back. And especially a trusted producer, a veteran producer. I think Austin Ekeler still finds a place, even if he's not re-signed in LA. The expert consensus has Austin Ekeler at running back 30. He still hit some major upside weeks from this past season. And with the Chargers offense back and probably getting a good pick in the first round, and this team touchdown regression is bound to happen with Austin Ekeler only scoring 6 this year on what was that 230 touches. We're going to see more touchdowns for Austin Ekeler. Give me your reasons for hating Austin Ekeler.
Yeah, as someone who was very, very high on Austin Ekeler, needless to say, I was disappointed this year. But what I will say is I don't think the Chargers bring Austin Ekeler back. And I don't think he still has it in him to be a running back 1A. And I don't think he has it in him to produce at a very high level. I think he's going to be very, very touchdown dependent next year. When you look at his game log from this year, he had one game over 100 yards rushing. That's it. Just one. Other than that, you're looking at, he only went over 60 yards rushing 1, 2, 3 times all year, or 3 other times all year. Receiving wise, he never topped 50 yards more than once. Now, granted, he had a couple games that were pretty close, but he's just not the same back that he was last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He's a completely different back, and I think it's going to depend on A, where he lands, and B, how efficient is that offense. If they can get it down to the goal line, yeah, I think he does have some value, but I don't think he's going to have as much value between the 20s.
Yeah, and that really was the thing for Austin Ekeler in previous seasons. He was able to convert the touchdowns. He was able to run effectively between the tackles. This year, though, in true yards per carry, 3.3 true yards per carry. That was 62nd among running backs. But last year, he wasn't super efficient either. He was 34th at 4.2 true yards per carry. I think that there's a lot of things that happened with this team, with the Chargers. And I think, honestly, they gave up a little bit at the end of the season. They weren't playing for anything. Justin Herbert was out. And so it's definitely possible that Austin Ekeler does not re-sign. The Chargers were hesitant to give him a raise anyways. If you remember in the offseason, he was threatening on holding out and saying, I'm not going to play for you. So I could see that very much being the pathway for the Chargers being like, all right, you hardballed us. We gave you a raise and you didn't do much for us this year. So I could definitely see them saying you can have good luck finding somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't think the Chargers want him back. I think that's why you weren't seeing him playing as much later on in the year. They were trying to figure out what they had in guys like Kelly, Isaiah Spiller, that sort of thing. So I think that the Chargers probably will move on from Austin Ekeler or sign him to another 1 year deal. But I think odds are he re-signs somewhere else, maybe say like Baltimore or even like a Denver, and then goes in there and tries to produce, again, following along the career path of Melvin Gordon, signing over in Denver and then bouncing around the league a little bit.
Now, to put some context to this, the Chargers were dead last in the NFL in PFF run block grade. So yes, Ekeler was really bad this year, true yards per carry. but he was done no favors by his offensive line in terms of run blocking. The entire offensive line got a 40.1 PFF run block grade, just absolutely disastrous. Alvin Kamara, he was just dealing with injuries at the end of the